So Israel says it is gearing up for the next stage of its war with Hamas as the fighting extends into a second week.
More than 1 million people in the northern Gaza Strip have been told to evacuate. Thousands have been killed in the war, including at least 30 Americans. Joining us right now, Aviv Ezra, a senior diplomat for the Israeli Consulate in New York. Thank you so much for being here this morning. What's the latest in Gaza?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. I think it's important to educate your viewers about what's happening in Israel and what's happening on the border with Gaza. Obviously, Israel is at war, and Israel is facing an unprecedented attack that started October 7th. I want to emphasize the magnitude of the event. This is not one of these regular terrorist attacks that we're talking about. We're talking about the largest massacre of Jews since the Holocaust. We're talking about the largest massacre of Israelis since the establishment of the State of Israel. We are talking about not Israel's 9/11, but if you take the magnitude of the population, we have 10 million Israelis and 350 million Americans. So this is like 35 times the number that we have lost. It's about 35,000 people.
I know that you have also been trying to help the Americans and identify the Americans, because as you mentioned, we lost some Americans there. How are you helping?
Correct. Unfortunately, the attack was not geared only toward Israelis. There are 17 types of nationalities that have lost lives. Americans specifically, we are talking about, I think this is the first in a decade that an attack, a terrorist attack that killed 30 Americans and 20 of them were abducted. This is directly against the interest of the United States of America. What we do here at the consulate is, first of all, we want to go through the process of identifying the bodies. This is, I don't want to raise it right here this morning, but it's a horrifying process because of what the terrorist Hamas has done. Hamas actually has desecrated the bodies. They have burned bodies. Once again, I don't want to go, your viewers can, everything is on the net, but at the end of the day, horrifying atrocities that make it so hard to identify the bodies, and therefore the process is long. But as you said, there are American families here that are waiting for this, for these news. We are in touch with them, and God willing, we'll be able to release the hostages, 20 Americans that are in Gaza at this point, and another 200 or 180 Israelis and other nationalities.
Well, as that war is being fought on the ground, there's also, a war being fought on social media for people to understand what is happening there. I mean, if you look at what's trending right now, it may not be fully in support of what you're seeing. So how do you navigate that? How do you tell someone that's watching really how to understand what's going on if what they're getting their information from is social media?
That's a great point. And in this situation, when there's so much uncertainty, what's really important are messages, official messages that are coming specifically from supporting elements like the United States of America. On the federal level, U.S. President's support is unwavering, unshakable, and he's there to help in anything that we need. On the state level, I mean, we see the governor of New York, we see the mayor of New York, both of them saying messages that could not be any way, shape, or form understood differently. And of course, the military support coming from the United States. There are 2 aircraft carriers. One is already in Israel, and the other is on the way. That is not only talking the talk, but also walking the walk, as you say in America, and that's projecting force, because we can also have a second front that will be opened from the north vis-a-vis another proxy of Iran, Hezbollah. So you have Hamas in the south and Hezbollah in the north. And if Hezbollah will join in, we're talking about a Middle East, a kind of a larger scale, and America is sending a message to Israel. We've got your back, and we are very appreciative to the president, to the legislative branch. We have Senator Schumer now leading a bipartisan codel into Israel. And of course, on the state level, the governor, the mayor was just in Israel. The mayor, his speech was just unbelievable.
Yeah.
He's saying, we are not all right. He fine-tuned exactly what Israelis today, all Israelis feel. We are not all right when they butcher our babies. We are not all right when they rape our women. We are not all right when they take the elderly, sometimes Holocaust survivors, and shoot them in the head. This is unacceptable. This is not within the rules of the game. And we as Israel will know how to respond and extract a dear price from Hamas to make sure that the message will be sent not only to Hamas, but all the other players around.
You're talking about responding, and now Israel's gearing up for the second stage of this war. What does this look like to you? How long do you think this might last? Just your thoughts on that.
Yeah, we're entering now the second phase, as you mentioned. We would like to make sure our goals of this second phase is first to crush the military capabilities of Hamas. We do not we are not willing to have our communities on the borderline live under threat and for many years we thought that maybe we could work with them with Western rationale. We can develop the economy, we can develop everyday life. It doesn't work. You know, people forget, but we don't have any Israeli presence in the Gaza Strip like in the last 18 years. There's no occupation or settlements or whatever. We were promised that maybe there will be a development of a Singapore of the Middle East, and unfortunately, this is not where they're going.
So there have been a lot of protests outside the Israeli consulate, both for Israel and for Palestinians, and across college campuses as well. And now American businessmen are basically saying they're going to take monetary action with contributions against those universities for the stance of some of the professors and stuff. What's your stand on that? How do you feel?
We're very proud to be able to work with our friends here in America. This is the land of the free, the home of the brave. You can have an opinion here and an opinion there. And we are not involved in the internal kind of elements, but what I can tell you is that there's a pouring support towards Israel of people coming to solidarity missions, including politicians, including private people, including business people, including people from major people that live right here. And I'm assisting them, of course, to come to Israel. We have a financial support. We have contributions. Whatever you think of is there. So we're working very closely with people that support us. And by the way, of course, there are also pro-Palestinians protests. This is part of the rules of the game, and I can understand that.
What do you want people to know today as they're watching you, sitting here on Good Day?
Thank you for asking. I think this is one of these cases that it's black or white. You cannot be in the middle. You cannot be silent. You cannot mute your voice when atrocities, when innocent civilians are being hit the way they were in Israel. This is unacceptable, and we would love all of them to be active, as you said, in the social media arena, in the public arena, and voice that support.
Aviv Ezra, senior diplomat for the Israeli Consulate in New York. Thank you so much for coming on Good Day, New York.
Thank you.